Hey, how y'all doing? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my 2022 NFL Playoffs Divisional Round picks. Before we talk about the Divisional Round of the NFL Playoffs, I want to get some quick thoughts on what happened on Super Wildcard Weekend last week. And obviously, there's some things I don't want to get into because anybody who knows me on a personal level, and believe me, I have received already a ton of flack from personal people and all that like to brag on me anytime I talk about the Chargers or anything. Yes, unfortunately, the Chargers became the victim of another team that had choked an enormous lead, just like the Colts did this season, just like the Houston Oilers of 1992, and the Atlanta Falcons against the Patriots in Super Bowl 51. I can't understand how the Chargers blew a 27-point lead against the Jaguars. They dominated the first half of that game. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions, and then all of a sudden, it was the other way around. Trevor Lawrence throwing 4 touchdowns, and the Chargers defense absolutely collapsed, and the Chargers offense didn't do crap. And look, the way I look at it right now, the whole team is to blame. Everybody has to take responsibility for that loss, including Coach Stanley and now former offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, who was, as of the time of this video, has been reported he was fired. That was just part of the problem. I personally felt that, getting rid of Lombardi was one thing the Chargers needed to do. I feel that Stanley also needs to go too. I'm sorry, but I feel like, the offense, Joe Lombardi was one reason he was the one that definitely deserved the axe. They weren't aggressive in the second half of that game, and the defense for the Chargers basically fell apart in that game, and that's why the Chargers now became a victim of a team that choked an enormous lead. So I really don't want to get into any more detail about that. I've already received enough trash and flack from personal people that know me on a personal level. Raider fans. Raider fans. And obviously, it wasn't just another big story. The other thing that came out of the divisional round weekend was the Cowboys' dominance over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know what the future holds for Tom Brady, and obviously, I think he played his last snap with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, knowing full well that this team now is in a rebuilding mode now. There is that Tom Brady's not going to be a part of this. He'll definitely leave. He's definitely going to leave the Buccaneers. Obviously, I don't know if he's going to continue playing or if he's actually going to retire, which I'm hoping. My personal opinion, he really needs to retire. His career is done. I don't know what else he needs to prove. I mean, the guy has 7 Super Bowl championships. I don't know what more does he want. I mean, I can't explain a lot of things right now. Other than that, obviously, Giants, Vikings, Bills, and Dolphins were the most competitive games of the weekend, and I was pretty spot on about Minnesota's defense. They just could not stop the offense of the Giants. Their offense and the running game just dismantled the Vikings defense. And I knew from the very beginning the Vikings defense wasn't that good, and it was going to end up being costly for this team, and it did, and it ended up being a first-round exit. Obviously for the Bills, I'll give the Dolphins some credit after they had Skylar Thompson at quarterback. Obviously, they have some quarterback issues going into next season. They really gave the Bills a fight. And if you're part of Bills Mafia, if you're a fan, that's concerning because given the fact that the defense really gave up 31 points to a second-string quarterback of the Dolphins. And if you're a Bills fan, that is definitely concerning. Obviously, the Bengals-Ravens game was also competitive, given the fact that the Bengals won on a costly quarterback sneak that ended up becoming a fumble, and then one of the Bengals defenders returned it for a touchdown. So it is going to... We'll get into the games right now. The way I look at it right now, the only one team that looks pretty impressive right now is really the 49ers. They destroyed Seattle in that game, and if you're a Cowboys fan and all that, I don't know if you guys are going to be ready for the 49ers. That's the one thing you better be prepared for because I don't buy it anyways. Anyways, let's talk about the divisional round now. All right, let's begin with the AFC first. Let's talk about the first AFC divisional game. It is the Jaguars versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are 8.5-point favorite in this one here, and that is right. Absolutely correct on this one. Trevor Lawrence, 28 of 47, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Now, Mahomes did play in Week 18. Obviously, the Chiefs clinched the number 1 seed, so So now they get to play playoff football here. Now, Patrick Mahomes in Week 18 was 18 of 26, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. He didn't play all that much in the fourth quarter against the Raiders, as they pretty much had that game clinched for that number 1 seed. I'm going to make this short and sweet here. The Jaguars had to come from behind to beat the Chargers. Basically, the Chargers shot themselves in the foot. There is no way I can see the Jaguars anyway beating the Chiefs. There's a chance they might give them a game. They might make it a football game and maybe in the first or second quarter. But other than that, look, this pick is pretty obvious here. I'm not going to get the Jaguars much of a chance in this game. If Trevor Lawrence played like he played the first half of that game against the Chargers, giving up 4 turnovers and all that, Kansas City's defense is not a joke. They'll be ready for this. There's no way I can see Kansas City, the Chiefs, losing this game, given how much playoff experience that Patrick Mahomes and company have had in the last 5 seasons. There's no question I'm picking the Chiefs in this one here. This is an obvious pick here, and it should be everybody's obvious pick here. Pretty much, this is going to be unanimous to whoever picks football games here. I'm going with the Chiefs. The Jaguars were lucky to get to this point, and I just don't see them pulling off this upset here. The Chiefs have a much better offense than the Chargers, and that defense is going to have to really find a way to really stop Patrick Mahomes from getting out of the pocket, let alone if he throws passes to Travis Kelce, his favorite target. There's no way I see the Jaguars winning this game. This is an obvious pick here. I'm picking the Chiefs in this one here. This won't even be a game. The Jaguars will try to make it a game in the first half, but come the second half, the Chiefs are going to run away with it. There's no way the Chiefs are going to blow a lead in this one. Not this time. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are elite. I don't give the Jaguars much of a chance in this one here. Chiefs over the Jaguars at -8.5. All right, let's talk about the other AFC divisional game. It is the Bengals versus the Bills. The Bills are a 5-point favorite in this one here, and that number should go much lower by the time it's kickoff on Sunday. This game will definitely be, in terms of points, will be much lower. Now, Joe Burrow, 23 of 32, 209 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Josh Allen for the Bills, 23 of 39, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions here. This boils down to the point now. Now, the Bengals really did get, their offensive line really did get banged up against the Ravens, and they lost a key tackle. That's definitely going to play a huge factor in this game. And given the fact on the other side of the ball for the Bills defense here, it's really getting more difficult for that Bills defense, obviously because they're really missing Von Miller. He's out for the season. There isn't anything they can do. That Bills defense will definitely have to find a way to really handle that Bengal offense here. This is probably one, if not maybe the toughest pick of this round. Obviously, they didn't get to play after, what happened to Damar Hamlin and all that, but this game will be played, and obviously there has to be a winner in this game to who faces the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Whoever faces the Chiefs, look, I've already thrown in a pick for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to get to the AFC Championship. But other than that, the Bills have to limit the turnovers. Josh Allen look, I love Josh Allen, but he really is being reckless with the football. He really cannot be throwing interceptions near the red zone because that's always been his Achilles heel all season. The Bills have got to find a way to limit the turnovers. The Bengals have been fortunate. They only had 1 turnover in that game against the Ravens. The Bills and the turnovers are a bit concerning right here. I think it's going to boil down to turnovers in this game. This game is definitely going to go back and forth. It is 50-50 who wins this game because both offenses are just about evenly matched. Defense-wise, they're about evenly matched. I think it's going to be an offensive explosion in this game. I think this game is going to go back and forth. This game's going to be a good one at Orchard Park in Buffalo. But obviously, it's a tough pick. Take this with a grain of salt and treat this with enormous caution in this game because I don't know who's going to come out the victor in this one here, but I have to make a pick in this one here. It boils down. Turnovers are going to be key. Which of these teams limits the turnovers? But I'm going to say this with some confidence here. I'm picking the Bills. The Bills are on a mission, and they want another crack at the Chiefs. There's no question. Look, Cincinnati right now, their offensive line is banged up. And If the Bills defense can actually get to Burrow, I like the Bills' chances in this game. It's a tough pick. I don't know who wins this game, but I'm going to go with the Bills. It's a very, very tough pick. It's 50-50 who wins this game in this one here. Should be a good one in Buffalo. I'm picking the Bills at -5. The Bills are a 5-point favorite in this one here. It's probably going to be lower, but I'm going to go with the Bills at -5. Bills over the Bengals. All right, switching over now to the NFC. All right, NFC Divisional Game number 1. The Giants versus the Eagles. The third meeting between these two teams. And obviously, this is a game where, well, look, this matchup matters a lot more to who goes to the NFC Championship now. Now, Daniel Jones in the big win over Minnesota last week. 24 of 35, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's really big right now. Now, Jalen Hurts did play in Week 18, but it wasn't much. He was 20 of 35, 229 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception, and it was against the Giants in that final week. But that was between backups and starters basically getting rest. The Eagles are 7.5-point favorite in this one here, and it would not surprise me if that number goes much lower. I really think it's going to go lower than that. The Giants did a great job with their offense in really giving Minnesota a hard time. Philly's defense is going to have to really limit Saquon Barkley in this game, and they got to find a way to get to Daniel Jones. They dominated the first meeting at the Meadowlands, but this is going to be a real test for them. Look, the Giants are kind of on a mission of their own to make a statement that they want to get a crack at the NFC Championship themselves. This is actually a tough pick because I see this game it's going to be a very, very close game. I don't see this game anyway being a blowout. But when I look at it right now, just like the Bills and the Bengals, the team, whoever limits the turnovers, who doesn't turn the ball over in this game and can really pound the ball on the run game and all that, is going to end up winning this game. It's really gonna be hard to say how Jalen Hurts' shoulder is going to be because it was a factor in Week 17. Obviously, he was rusty. And obviously getting that number 1 bye may not have helped because they didn't play a game last week, hopefully to shake off the rust. A lot of it's going to determine how rusty is Jalen Hurts. But when I look at this game here, I really think the Eagles are going to win this game here in a very hard-fought game. This is definitely going to be a hard-fought game. And it wouldn't surprise me if it's like a 20-17 type of game. I think it's going to be that close. I think it's going to come down to a field goal in this game. And whoever doesn't turn the ball over in this game is gonna win this one. It's a tough pick. I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles at -7.5 here. I think they'll find a way to get to the NFC Championship in this one here. I think for the way the Giants have really come alive, especially with new head coach Dan, but they really did a great job this season. I think it's going to end with the Eagles here. They're the number 1 seed for a reason, and I think they're going to get to the NFC Championship in this one here. I'm picking the Eagles over the Giants at 7.5. And finally, the other NFC divisional game, a big one, the Dallas Cowboys versus the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are a 3-point favorite in this one. And that number would not surprise me if it goes to 2.5, maybe 2, maybe 1.5. Given the Dallas Cowboys' dominance last week with that defense, they really destroyed Tom Brady in that game. Dak Prescott, 25 of 33, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Brock Purdy, 18 of 30, 332 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interception, in a huge win over the Seahawks last week. This is another tough pick. Both defenses are almost evenly matched, but I give the slight edge to the 49ers. Their defense is a bit more healthy in this game. Their defense is a little bit more better and more healthier than the Cowboys' defense is. And the way I look at it, their offensive weaponry with Deebo Samuel and all that. And Brock Purdy can actually does well out of the pocket. He can actually run. So it wouldn't surprise me if Brock Purdy starts making plays himself in this game. A lot of it's going to have to determine if Dak Prescott can really finally get over the hump to get to the NFC Championship game. And to see if Ezekiel Elliott can finally do something in the run game. And see if Lamb can really make some big-time catches in that game. It's really a tough pick in this one here, given the fact that both defenses are good. But the edge I give to the 49ers, I think the 49ers have a much better defense than the Cowboys do. it is definitely going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be an offensive struggle for both these two teams, and I can see this game being low scoring. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like a 14-10 type of game, or maybe a 13-10 or a 13-6 type of game. I think touchdowns are going to come at a premium in this game. It's definitely going to come down to who can make the plays in this one here. It's a tough pick. I didn't think of it before because the way the Cowboys played in their final regular season games, but I think, to me, their road's going to end here. You can't go against the 49er defense. They are a strong defense, and I think they're going to find a way to get to Prescott, and they're going to limit the run game in this one here. It is definitely going to be low scoring, but I'm going to get the edge to the 49ers, and I'm going to pick the 49ers at -3 to beat the Dallas Cowboys here. I think the 49ers are headed for the NFC Championship, given on the backs of their defense. All right. That's it from my divisional round picks, my football fans. I'll talk to you guys next week when we make our picks for the AFC and NFC Championship games. And until then, everybody, take care and enjoy this playoff weekend watching the divisional round, and I'll talk to you guys next week.